The first attack wave targeted airfields and battleships.
8 battleships were damaged, with 5 sunk: the Arizona, California, Utah, Nevada, and Oklahoma.
3 light cruisers, 3 destroyers, and 3 smaller vessels were lost, along with 188 aircrafts. According to the Japanese recordings, they lost 55 airmen and 9 crewmen on the smaller submarines, but it is unknown for the larger ones.
Admiral Isoroku Yamamoto, commander of the Japanese fleet, ordered the Japanese to leave Hawaii undetected.
So if you're wondering if the Americans detected the attack, they did. 2 men watching the radar saw the plane approaching. They contacted the officers, but they ignored the report and told them they expected the Americans. December 6, U.S. President Franklin Roosevelt made a final appeal to the Japanese Emperor for peace, but there was no reply.
Later that same day, the U.S. Code-Breaking Service begins to interpret a 14-part Japanese message.
They deciphered the first 13 parts, texting one to the president. The Americans knew that the Japanese were going to attack, but they did not know where.
Sweat and toil, through the blood and tears, keep this battle cry ringing in our ears. Remember Pearl Harbor. Let this song keep us strong
at 1 p.m. Washington, D.C. time, the U.S. deciphers the last Japanese message. This is the same time as the attack on Pearl Harbor, 7:53, considering the time difference.
Into the war by this event. The reason the Japanese surprise attacked the U.S. was because before Japan and U.S. would trade oil and scrap metal. But then President Roosevelt froze all the Japan exports, meaning the Japanese could not get these resources.
Attack, President Roosevelt nationalized the U.S. Army and along with Britain declared war on Japan, calling December 7th a date which will live in infamy.
Of the House of Representatives, yesterday, December 7th, 1941, a date which will live in infamy.
Pearl Harbor was the principal but not the sole target of the Japanese attack that day. Other military installations on Oahu were hit too, suffered varying degrees of damage, with hundreds of planes destroyed on the ground and hundreds of men were killed or wounded.
The casualty list includes 2,335 servicemen and 68 civilians killed, with 1,178 wounded. Included are 1,104 men aboard the battleship USS Arizona killed. Afterward, 1,760-pound air bomb hit.
While the attack that day was a huge blow to the U.S. military presence in the Pacific, it was not a total victory for the Japanese. Not only were the attack's biggest targets, the American aircraft carriers out of the port at that time were therefore safe, but the attack stimulated the nation's support for involvement in the war, ultimately contributing to the defeat of the Axis powers.